When we talk about building movements, when we talk about protests, we have to be very careful who we build a coalition with. We have to be very careful of the types of relationships that we choose to cultivate. Oftentimes, when you see Democrat politicians appear at movement, protest, or rallies, this is not just to help you. This is usually to help their self or the party or to co-opt your movement. I say this because AOC just recently made a visit to Columbia University encampment. And I want you to see the difference between what happens in this video with AOC and the way that Jill Stein was treated, right, at the protest at Washington University. The police are not going to target AOC because they know that she's not a threat to the system, just like JB was saying. So that's really important to note. But in comes the Democratic Party to try to co-opt the movement. Check this out.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming out here. It's great the support we're getting.
Just pausing that there because of music. And I'll play it when she starts to speak. So here she is at the encampment. Let me go ahead and play it here.
So I'm a freelancer with New York Times.
Really special.
Yeah, she's not saying too much. Hold on. Yeah, so she's not saying too much, but there she is at the Columbia University encampment. And it wasn't just her. There were other members of the squad that appeared there as well. So here she is walking through and they're kind of escorting her through here. And we're just going to pause right about here because I want to pause. So you see there's the cameras, people are filming her, etc. Okay. So let me tell you what this is really about. Because you see, she's trying to play both sides. This is what I told you about her, right? Like she tries to play the progressive lane, but she also tries to fit in with Democrat leadership. You can't both sides of genocide. So this time it's very, it's a little bit more obvious. And to the people that are participating in these protests, I would caution you from welcoming politicians into your direct action. We saw this happen with the BLM movement where they get involved in these movements and they co-opt them and they water them down. That's what happened with BLM. It's happened with other potential movements across this country as well. Some would say it also happened in reference to the Vietnam War protests. You cannot allow them to come in. AOC is not there to show support. Don't get it twisted. AOC is there to also get votes for Joe Biden. Why is she there? After the speeches that she gave about whether or not you should support Joe Biden if you're against the genocide in Gaza. She is there to convince the young people to vote for Joe. She is not just there to tell you she appreciates what you guys are doing. And this is where you have to be very careful. This is why you cannot let them come in. What happened when she appeared at the Amazon labor things after she ghosted them on the first one? Said she would be there, didn't show up. Then she finally showed up after they won. Right? So those movements have been watered down. Now you see that she's made her way into the protests that are happening, calling out the genocide in Gaza. I would have no problem with politicians participating in these movements if they haven't been known to co-opt them, which is what they do. The Democratic Party co-opted the BLM movement. They co-opted and watered down, defund the police, then turned on it and said it was toxic. And people didn't get anything at the end. They didn't get anything on a national level from all the protests. So don't get it twisted. She is there to tell those people, I totally get what you're doing and you're great to organize this and I support your effort to protest. But When November comes, you have to support Joe Biden because we can't get Donald Trump. Remember, Joe Biden is losing the young base. He's lost support among the younger voters. That is why AOC is there. We cannot be fooled by this, especially when you see the pictures that she took just a couple days ago. Nico called this out. Shout out to Nico. Hey, real quick. Or let me say it like Nico. Hey, bruh, real quick. This you with Genocide Joe, who called the Columbia protesters anti-Semitic right after you gave a speech showing support to those same protesters. Pick a side, bruh. I added in the bruh, but Nico would say that. So you can't have it both ways. And this is what they've been doing. So here she is with Joe Biden and Ed Markey. Now start asking these questions, folks. Out of all the members of the squad, how is it that she gets to be that close to Joe Biden? How is it that AOC gets to be that cozy with Joe Biden? She's not the only member of the squad. So start asking those questions. This is AOC looking out for her political career. Ed Markey too. They all got on the same glass. What is this? So they all have on the aviator glasses. You see this? So she wants to have it both ways. And you can't. Now I want to show you this. This interview that AOC had with Mehdi Hassan. What do you say to the young people who do not want to vote for Joe Biden because of the genocide in Gaza? This interview with Mehdi Hassan occurred before she showed up to Columbia University. I want to show you this so that you understand her intentions. Listen to this.
What do you say to a young progressive or an Arab American who says to you, I just can't vote for Biden again after what he's enabled in Gaza? What do you say to them?
I mean, I think everyone comes to this prospect and this conversation with a different history, different background, what they bring. You know, for an individual Palestinian American that has had their family killed, there is nothing. I mean, I am not here to lecture anyone. I also think that this election is more, in my personal view, I believe this election is about more than president. And also, it's not just one election that's happening. We're having hundreds of elections.
Yes.
The balance of Congress, the balance of the House, the balance of the Senate, and the presidency. And I have a vested interest in protecting democracy, not just here domestically, but globally.
What AOC is telling Palestinians who have lost their family members in Gaza, she's telling them that her vested interest is in protecting democracy. I'll add to that what she will not say, but also protecting her political career. That is more important than pushing back on a genocide. Let me just ring this clear, folks. You have third party and independent candidates that are running, and they are against the genocide that is happening in Gaza. And these are people I'm talking about that have been correct on the Israel-Gaza issue for years, not after October 7th, not Johnny come latelys. And AOC, who calls herself a progressive, she wants to call out the genocide and only decided to do so after protesters pushed her to do that. She wants to call out the genocide and say it's wrong and we shouldn't support what's happening in Gaza. But then she also wants to turn around and tell you that democracy is important, so we should support Joe Biden. She wants you to support the genocider, the person supplying the weapons, the person giving Israel the tools to continue to slaughter Palestinians abroad. Now, I want you to think about that for just a second, folks. Then she has the audacity to appear at Columbia University as if she's down with the fight, down with the struggle. She is not down with the fight. She is not down with the struggle. She is there to co-opt your movement and to convince you to support Joe Biden and the Dem establishment and to keep you from moving further to the left and becoming a radical. People like AOC are there to prevent any type of revolution. You have to understand. This is something that we've learned from the Black Panthers. If you study the Black Panthers, they would have warned you about people like AOC, Bernie Sanders. They are there to maintain the status quo. Now, they will call out the Democratic Party for certain things. But at the end of the day, if they still tell you to maintain that status quo, what good are they? They're never going to push you outside of the lines. They offer you theater, but they're not delivering any type of radical politics. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Imagine if you had a friend and your friend told you that they were abused. They were physically abused by their partner. So they're in an abusive relationship. And you tell your friend that you are against any type of domestic violence. You are against it. That is a no-no. But then you turn around and you tell your friend you need to stay with him anyway because you're better off having a spouse than being alone. Think about that. Would you want the friend that's going to tell you to stay in the abusive situation, or would you want the friend that's going to tell you to pack your stuff and leave? I would want the friend to say leave. Let's continue.
And it isn't, I truly do not believe this as a lesser of two evils type of situation. I think about what conditions do I want to be organizing under in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
We can look at both of these individuals oppositionally as well, depending on what issue you have. But I would rather, even in places of stark disagreement, I would rather be organizing under the conditions of Biden as an opponent on an issue than Trump, who is not, he seeks to dismantle American democracy.
Now we've moved on to democracy instead of focus on the genocide that is happening in Gaza. You see what I'm saying? You know, it's like you have a whole population of people being slaughtered, but you want to focus on somebody trying to dismantle democracy. How can you dismantle something that we don't truly have, AOC? We don't have a democracy when you're kicking people off the ballot. We don't have a democracy where you're not even allowing people to debate. We don't have a democracy when you have mainstream media telling you very early on who the nominee is going to be and not giving anyone else a chance. We don't have a democracy when the DNC tells you they are a corporation and they can pick whoever they want to be the nominee. You don't have a democracy when you have a DNC fraud lawsuit. So how can you dismantle something that you don't even truly have? Now, she can't say what I just said. If she tells you what I just said, she wouldn't be sitting up on that stage. She damn sure wouldn't be in that picture with Joe Biden. So AOC has to make a decision. You need to decide if you want to be Nancy Pelosi, which I think that's what she wants, or if you actually want to stand for something for once. And the latter may mean that you will not be a politician.
And I am taking that personally very seriously, because we will not be able to organize for any movement towards anything if we are facing the jailing of dissidents. I mean, this is the kind of authoritarianism that he threatens. And we have to take it seriously.
She's talking about the jailing, right? Who is throwing people in jail right now? Isn't that happening under Joe Biden? Aren't the protesters being thrown in jail? This is under Biden's presidency. When it comes to the police, are Donald Trump and Joe Biden that much different? When Joe Biden is funding the police, he's giving the police more money than Donald Trump. They both want to fund the police. They both support the police states. This is why some people, look, let me keep it real, because some of you are new here. This is why some people, they don't want to have me have this discussion. This is why some people, you'll never see me on their show. You'll never see people from RBN, my comrades at RBN, on their show, because they don't want you to hear what I just told you. At the end of the day, both political parties support the police state. Neither one of them really want protests. Don't get it twisted. Nico broke this down so beautifully. The hypocrisy, the audacity of it all.
Wow, I'm really impressed. AOC actually gave a speech in solidarity with the protesters of Columbia University and other universities across the country.
It is especially important that we remember the power of young people shaping this country today, of all days, as we once again witness the leadership of those peaceful student-led protests on campuses like Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, and many others.
Now look, I know I've had my criticisms about AOC, but I truly think it's dope that... Hold on. Is that a picture of AOC and Joe Biden? Hold on, was this picture taken the same day as the speech with her showing solidarity with the university protesters? Nah, bruh. Is she wearing the exact same shirt that she just gave a speech in? So after AOC gave this speech celebrating the peaceful protesters of Columbia University, she took a picture with Joe Biden, who literally condemned those very same protests as anti-Semitic. But you know what? I'm not even surprised. This is AOC. This is the same AOC that admitted that the United States is funding a genocide and then turned around and said, well, we have to vote for Joe Biden though, because we have a responsibility to uphold democracy domestically and around the world. Those were her words. But apparently AOC's idea of supporting democracy around the world is voting for a president who is actively funding an apartheid state. We got two different definitions of democracy, bro. Y'all gotta find a way to get her up out of there, bro. She cannot keep getting away with this.
That was Nico there for another hot spot clip. You guys, they're killing it. Nico and Nick are killing it with those hot spot clips. Make sure you follow Hotspot on Twitter because they're doing the damn thing. But it's true. Like, what else can you say, right? Even one of the Columbia protesters who organized the encampment, even he called AOC out. Check it out, folks. Columbia protest organizers, Kaimani James, takes aims at AOC amid backlash. Oh, no. One of the leading figures in the protest against the war in Gaza at Columbia, who caused controversy, and we'll skip what he said there, but he was saying something about caused controversy, saying that he said Zionists didn't deserve to live. I don't agree with that type of rhetoric there. I don't agree saying anyone doesn't deserve to live. So we got to say that, making that very clear, YouTube. Anywho, it goes on here, has a hit out on New York Congresswoman AOC for visiting the encampment. Kamami says, where am I here? 20 reshared a post on X, formerly Twitter, which criticized AOC after she and other members of the progressive Democratic group known as the Squad visited the pro-Palestinian campus protest on Friday. This is what he said. If you're letting in politicians to your encampment who condemn the Palestinian resistance and endorse Genocide Joe, you have fully lost the plot. Encampments should sites of resistance, not Democratic Party photo ops. Beware of co-optation. And we have to be very careful about that. So he was one of the organizers. And he's trying to say, what is happening here? Why are you guys taking pictures with AOC? Why are you welcoming her in with open arms? This woman just told you she is supporting and endorsing Genocide Joe. She is really against what she's fighting for. Here's the thing. Look at the actions, folks. If you tell me you condemn a genocide, but then at the same time, you give an announcement and you say you fully endorse President Joe Biden, the one who's actually allowing the genocide to happen, allowing the genocide to happen, then you're full of shit. How are you going to be against what? And I don't care. I don't want to hear, well, Donald Trump is so much scarier, yada, yada. I don't want to hear it. Because if you are against genocide, you cannot sit up here and support the person that is allowing the genocide to happen in the first place. The U.S. could call an end to this immediately by announcing they are not funding Israel. Immediately by calling for a permanent, everlasting ceasefire. Immediately. So don't give me that I would rather work under Joe Biden because we could get like a true democracy thing going here. No, you would rather work under Joe Biden because you want to have a political career in Congress, possibly later in the Senate, and then later on you want to run for president. Get out of here. Everybody has to call this out. I once supported AOC too. I once supported Bernie and the squad too. But these people failed us. They turned their backs on us and they need to be called out for it. And you cannot allow yourself to fall into this trap again. It is only April, but as we get closer to November, they are going to hype this up even more. Ilhan Omar's very daughter was arrested for participating in the protest. She's still out here tap dancing like a damn clown. After Joe Biden was dropping drones on people in her own damn country. And she's still out here shining Joe Biden's shoes. Wake up, people. You are never going to get any type of real change in this country as long as you allow the corporate powers that be, the status quo, tell you to just take a step back. Not now, maybe later. Why don't you wait until Trump's not a threat? I've heard that all my life. And some of you watching have too. You know how long I've had people say, don't try to do that right now. Why don't you just wait till next year? Wait a couple years down the road. And if I would have listened to those people, I wouldn't be where I am today. There will always be those voices that are going to try to hold back any type of progress in this country. And you need to start asking yourself, why are they doing that? What's in it for them? How much are they being paid? And who is paying them under the table to prevent any type of progress in this country? Some of the same politicians that sit up there and they tell you that they are for defunding the police, they got pictures of them having dinner with cops, okay? Who they rubbing elbows with in DC when they're not getting their picture taken? That's what you got to pay attention to. So AOC has been coached. She's been in Congress long enough now to know what to say, to convince whatever's left of her whack ass base that she's still so much progressive, but to also convince the Democrat leadership that she's not going to stab them in the back. And if you don't think that they don't get approval, squad members don't get approval to vote the way that they do against something from Dem leadership, you're a fool. And that is why you never see them vote against something when it's actually going to make a difference in whether or not the legislation is going to pass. I was not born yesterday. I was not born last night. But these politicians, they have a way of trying to fool you. They know how to talk. They know what to say to get you to think they're on your side. But you have to look at their behavior. And I don't give a damn if you liked AOC before or not. The woman is not for you. She is not there to help you. She's there to help herself.